you gotta tell me when it's up.
Okay. Okay, see about that. Oh, good. Now you're on.
Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. I know Komar was waiting for a while. Hi, Komar. And and it says that there were five waiting. So listen, I'm going to start. Thank you for joining. This is going to be what I'm going to draw from or paint from, actually. So I just want everyone who joins in. What you can do is you can go ahead and grab a piece of paper, grab a pencil or some paints, brush, and just go ahead and use this time to paint and draw from the reference that's provided. I'm going to be using gouache again. Now, just to go over what I am using, I haven't used this pad before, but I bought this a long time ago at the art supply store, and I was interested in in the paper to see what it was like. It's made by Grumbacher. It's acrylic. It's made for acrylic paints, right? So it's a nice 140-pound paper, very thick, very thick. I don't know if you can hear that, but and slight tooth to it, you know. So I'm going to be using this, and I just thought that I'm going to use that Zorn palette with the addition of cerulean blue here. So I squeezed out fresh paint here. This is gouache. This is not acrylic gouache. This is plain gouache, and I'm using ivory black. And this is, and just in case anyone's interested in who what the manufacturer is, this is Holbein. This is Da Vinci. This is the cerulean blue. This is Turner Design Gouache, which is one of my favorite ones. And this is permanent vermilion. That's the red. This is yellow ochre. This is Holbein. And this is Winsor Newton's permanent white. Okay? Or titanium white. Either one. It's both the same thing. So I'm going to move these over. So I tried to put it so that everyone can see my my palette here, so you can see what I'm mixing and so forth. Now I arrange things a little bit differently, but hopefully I won't be sticking my head in the in front of the camera here. So so let me just go ahead let me just go right ahead and start. First of all, I'm not using a pencil preliminary drawing or anything like that because I figure it's hard for you guys to see. So, let me just go directly with paint. So here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna move this over because I can't see it. Okay. Whatever. So these have been a lot of fun. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun to do.
Well, have you told your viewers what you're going to be doing today? I know you talked about the paint you're using and the paper you're using. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna do the model that you see here, the photo reference you see here.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
well, Kumar says it's so great to see you back.
Okay, hi Kumar. I'm just starting out with using a wash at first, that'll kind of be my drawing that I build up on. So it's very, very faint. Because I'm trying to establish where everything is supposed to go. And I'm not worried about what's dark or what's light over here, as long as I don't build up the paint too heavily in the beginning, because I can always paint over what's there.
Okay, well, Kumar's chiming in again.
Okay.
He says there's a lockdown in India, so he can't get the paper.
Oh.
You know, he says, I'm sure, but he's going to try to do it digitally.
Oh, that's great. That's great. You know, I work digitally a lot too, and the thing about it is that early on what I tried to do was explore all of these programs that you have, which are not so expensive, so you know, they cost so much to buy and to keep up with. Now I use the Adobe programs. I use Photoshop and other software that comes with it and so forth. But what I've been doing for a long time is using a lot of software that is very good, but it's not as expensive. You know, one of my favorite softwares to use was Sketchbook. You know, we used to be called Sketchbook Pro. Now it's just the Autodesk Sketchbook. That was, for a long time, that was one of my favorite ones to use. Now I had picked up others. You know, I tried things like Krita, which my son seems to like. I've also when you can see from the videos that I have on YouTube, one of the other ones that I really enjoyed was Rebel, because Rebel does a good job at mimicking traditional media. It does a good job when they say watercolor brush. It not only looks like watercolor brush, it behaves like a watercolor brush, and it's very, very fun to paint with. So I've used Rebel. I've tried. This is another one. I Art Rage, and Art Rage was good for a while. But also one of the criteria I had when I was using uh, uh, digital media was that I wanted media that wasn't like a big learning curve. It wasn't hard to get to know. So I use software like Sketchbook, um, uh, uh, and Rebel, and I like those because those weren't difficult to get to learn, you know. And in the meantime, I also used what do you call it? Photoshop, and I didn't use Illustrator. I didn't find much use for Illustrator because I wanted something that was more painterly, and but and I was always looking for something that would mimic not digital. I'm sorry, traditional media. So I was always looking for that. So so Illustrator didn't really interest me. I liked illustrations that people did from there and so forth, but I that's not what I wanted my work to look like. You know, I wanted something that was people.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. You can cut me off.
I didn't want to cut you off, but Kumar chimes in. He says he loves Procreate because he have a huge iPad, so it's easier than an expensive stylus to get all those features.
You know what, Procreate, I've seen people use Procreate, and it's a great program. It really is. I never got into it because I would have to spend X amount of dollars on, on an iPad, which I just can't afford right now. So that's the only reason why I never got into Procreate.
Mm-hmm. So he also says he loved your digital artwork, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you. There's a lot going on in here with all these wrinkles and creases and so forth. I don't want to get lost in those. I want to make it a very, very general statement before I get into anything with all those details.
Okay, well, Kumar asks, hey, just one thing. I would love to have one of your pieces up on my wall. Is there any way you sell pieces or maybe do commissions?
Yes, and you would have to. I would probably um, reach out to you here on Facebook, and I have a website set up for those things. As a matter of fact, uh, and I don't think I have it yet on. I posted it on my about page yet. So I'll make sure to do that. So at least by later on today, or definitely by tomorrow, you'd be able to go to my about uh, um, page here on YouTube, and I'll have a link to that if anybody's interested. I already have a website up with the prices and everything for commissions.
Okay. Well, he said, okay, great. Would love one. Whenever you are ready.
Okay. Well, so far this paper is shaped out really good.
Okay. Well, do you think you'll be able to deliver in India the artwork that you were talking about?
Something I've never done, so I did something that I would have to look up. You know.
Okay, well, Kumar, we'll find out that information for you. Okay, well, you said great.
Okay. Okay. Some background here.
It's really shaping up very nicely.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well, Kumar wants to know, who's your favorite classic, legendary artist? Like Michelangelo or anybody else you have in mind?
Well, that's a very, very long list of artists that I really like. And of course, it's Michelangelo, it's Leonardo, Raphael. Then going into Rembrandt, Rubens, Velasquez, Vermeer. It's just a long list of artists that I really, really enjoy. When I was in high school, I was fortunate to have a great teacher who taught me about art history, not just painting, but about art history. And I have never ever stopped looking into different artists and visiting museums and so forth.
And I can attest, you have the books to prove it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He started me also on buying all these books on Sargent, Soroya, Winslow Homer, a lot of different guys that I enjoy looking at. But there's a lot. There's also great illustrators I love looking at. I love Norman Rockwell, J.C. Leyendecker, Dean Cornwell, N.C. Wyeth, Howard Pyle, Franklin Booth. The names go on and on as far as all those great artists are concerned.
Okay, well, Kumar says he loves reading too. You know, and currently he's reading the biography of Van Gogh.
Oh, okay. Van Gogh. Van Gogh's a good guy.
Okay, so I'm not sure what Kumar is saying here. I think he's saying that Van Gogh is not his favorite,
Oh, okay.
or is his favorite. I'm not quite sure. Kumar, hit us again. You know, you had talked about your teacher in high school and how he not only taught you art, but you know, art history. And I love those stories that you have of your teacher. I don't know if your fans know anything about Greenie, as you so lovingly call him.
Well, Greenie was, what can you say? He was one of a kind. He taught at the High School of Art and Design. Then he went on to college to teach a course in School of Visual Arts, the college here in Manhattan, and then finally at the Art Students League before he passed away. He was a great teacher to a lot of students. Taught for many years, and matter of fact, his whole career was I don't think it was teaching, but it encompassed a lot of his life. And on Facebook, if anyone's on Facebook, there's a page devoted to him, and it's called Students of Erwin Greenberg. He passed away a while back, but he definitely left a mark on all of us. And you might even, going on the internet, there's someone had posted Greeny's, it's called Greeny's Primer, just a list of all the advice that he had given students over the years, and about about painting and so forth, and someone posted that on you can look up Greenberg's Primer, and you'll be able to find that online. It's also, I believe, it's also on the Art Students League website. And it's just a great, great page to have to,
It's awesome how he inspired so many students.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Yeah, getting off the subject a little bit, Kumar was asking you about some of the great artists. And, I learned through you looking at some people's work. What I like is Sargent's. And I think it's the portrait he did of Madam X. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, that I really came to appreciate that, So, I'm learning. I'm not even an artist, and I'm learning some things about artists and some of their works.
Well, a lot of people who go to museum aren't artists. They're just people who appreciate art, and that's what it's for.
Okay. Well, we have someone new. I think the name is Barika. It said, hello, can you please spell his name? I'm not sure who she's talking about. And she want to look up that post.
Green. If you're talking about Greenberg.
Oh, okay. That must be it.
Okay. Erwin Greenberg. You can. His first name is Irwin, and his last name is Greenberg. Greenberg. And you can look up Greenberg's Primer. You know what? If you can't find it, don't worry about it. When this is done, I'll just it's online later on. What I'll do is I'll just go ahead and post a link to it, so you'd be able to find it more easily. And again, if you're on Facebook, you can look up the page Students of Erwin Greenberg, and people are there sharing the work and sharing the experiences we had with them. Now we had back in high school, we had an early morning paint group. That this was in high school. We were all a bunch of high school students, and I had to travel to get to high school. I had to take the train to get to Midtown Manhattan. I lived in the Bronx, in New York City, and so it was about by train. Once I got on the train, it was about a 45-minute ride. What we did though was that we would all meet early in the morning. It was not part of the school curriculum. It was just a bunch of us who were serious about art, serious about painting and wanted to learn. So Greenie, as we call him, Greenberg, along with Max Ginsberg, ran this class for students to come in and paint early in the morning. And we would meet there and every morning at about 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock in the morning, and begin painting from the model. And we do that all week long.
Okay, well, let me interrupt you. Verika
Yeah.
has said that she found it, thank you.
Oh, great.
And Kumar has said that there are biographies and quotes up on the website that he's really famous, and his paintings are also up for sale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Kumar had looked him up. He is really good. He mentioned.
And you might want to look up, Greenie passed away recently, not recently, a few years ago. Thankfully, Max Ginsberg is still with us. He was also the teacher there and also a great inspiration to a lot of students. I had Greenie. I didn't have Max, but I did have Max and learned from him in the early morning paint group. And he was just on his way out of teaching in the public schools back then. He was starting on doing illustration work, book covers and so forth, and he did a lot of romance book covers. And he's easy to look up. I mean, his website, you can just look up Max Ginsberg, and phenomenal illustrator and artist, and thankfully still among us. And you know what? There were a lot of great artists that came from that school. Guys who were very famous in the art field, in the fine art field, and guys who are famous in other areas. You know, some people just starting, even now, starting to make their mark as fine artists, and have already made their mark in other areas like illustration and so forth. You have guys like a very, very famous fine artist right now is Steve Vassell. Then you have guys who drew comic books for a living and came through his class. One such person is a guy by the name of Joe Rubenstein, and he was part of that early morning paint group. And he's actually, Joe's in the Guinness Book of World Records, I believe, for he worked as an inker for Marvel Comics, and he is in the Guinness Book of World Records for having inked the most comic book characters or comic book pages. I'm not sure, one of the two. Then you had guys who like Mark Teixeira, who did work for Marvel Comics and DC Comics. He did characters like Ghost Rider and Punisher and other characters. Then you had Javier Saltires. He also did Ghost Rider. So you had a lot of guys. You had guys like Rick Mujica. He became an illustrator, and he's also doing a lot of fine artwork now, and also teaching at the Art Students League. Garen Baker, you know, all these guys. I didn't actually go to school with all of them. I kind of know some of them after the fact. A lot of the students would come back and still continue to paint with us even though they graduated and so forth. So they would come in the early morning, paint with us, and so that's how I met some of the older students. And it was a nice atmosphere because the students would help out. The older students would help out some of the younger students.
Yeah, I remember your school, your old, school, art and design, would have draw-thons, and, but COVID happened, and, that stopped that temporarily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sad. I was really enjoying.
Yeah, it was interesting to see. I went to one of the draw-thons. Well, I was picking up our son. That's what happened. Yeah, you and our son went there for one of the draw-thons, and it was just amazing seeing the talent that was there.
Yeah, they continue to graduate some very, very talented people.
What amazes me a lot is just that how motivated you are, when it comes to your art. Maybe you want to tell your fans, how you stay so motivated.
How can you stay motivated?
Oh. I know I was asking you recently about, your motivation. I'm in awe of how you just stay so motivated.
I think the thing is that, life is funny. You get to a point where you start to wonder, what are you living so that you can wait to die, or are you living with a purpose, where you're just not going from cradle to grave without leaving a mark. And I think that's what I want to do. I want to be able to show some evidence that I passed this way.
Okay. Well, we have Ira.
Okay, hi.
Ira Crave. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Okay.
He says amazing work. Amazing work.
Thank you.
And Kumar had indicated that he tried to recreate the Sistine Chapel hand, and he had failed at it. He couldn't seem to get the lighting right. Have you done that? Have you tried to imitate other famous artists' work?
Yeah, that's part of what you do when I was in college. But other people do that, now in terms of what they call master copies, and this is just an opportunity to learn from someone, from famous artists like Rembrandt or Sargent or Michelangelo, or just whatever you're interested in at the time, and it's a great idea It's a great idea. I copied illustrators. I copied Lion Decker and other illustrators, you know, in an effort to learn from them how they do their own work, you know. I've done copies of Rembrandt drawings, Daumier drawings. Daumier is a French artist.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of that artist before.
Okay, Daumier and oh gosh, different guys. Tiepolo drawings. But art history is filled with just so many people that you can learn from in that way. So Kumar, that's just a great idea. I wouldn't give up. I would keep on going. You know, till you can learn something from it. You know.
Okay. Okay, well, Kumar wanted to know, which one did you recreate from Rembrandt? He went to the Louvre 3 years back and saw the Night Watch in real up close, he says it's surreal, and he was so, I think, shocked, he got goosebumps.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's it. Art is an experience. You know what? I mostly have a lot of art books, and I did a copy of a Rembrandt drawing, not a painting, from one of the art books. But I live in New York City, and one of the great things about living in New York City, we have the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which is not as big as I've been to the Louvre, and it's not as big as the Louvre or some other museums. It is a big museum though. But one of the things is that what Metropolitan has, I really appreciate, is a lot of masterpieces. A lot of I think it has the largest collection of Vermeers outside of Europe. There weren't, for one thing, there weren't very many Vermeers that survived. I think there was a big explosion around his time that he lost his life in. No, was it him? It might have been him. But it also destroyed some of the things he worked at. I think it was him, or I'm confusing him with Carol Fabricius. Carol Fabricius was a student of Rembrandt's, and a very, very promising student at that, but died at a very early age in an explosion. But to say again, I made copies of some Velasquez paintings. When I was in high school, I did that. Uh, but apart from that, there were more drawings, Rembrandt drawings, and the Daumier drawings. I did some Tiepolo drawings, but this was so very long ago. Um,
Wow. Well, come on. Okay, he says, yes, I'm actually in high school.
Oh.
Last year he said? Yeah, and he gives his age. I don't know if he wants me to say his age.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying, he lists it, but I don't know, we're gonna say his age or not?
Oh. Okay.
Well, Kumar, let us know. Do you want us to say your age?
Well, did he write it down there?
Yeah, he did. He did
well,
write it.
Well, he let everybody know his age then.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if everyone was able to see or just,
Yeah.
okay. So, wow. So,
Okay.
are we going to say it?
Alright, so he already said it.
Okay. Okay, he said, yeah, go ahead. Okay, well, Kumar, 17 years old.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Kumar.
I remember 17. I think it was so long ago.
Yeah, 17, wow.
Well, that's great. That's great that you have that interest in art, and, especially when you're so young. Which is where me and my friends were when we went to art and design. We were all very interested in what we were doing.
You know, technology is awesome. That someone from India could be looking, at the live stream and really learn a lot and share a lot. It's really awesome.
It's definitely a different world
Yeah,
than the one we grew up in.
yeah, quite different. Quite different.
It's a good thing too, because there's a big advantage to having this. I wish I'd have had when I was young.
Really. Okay. Well, I see I think this is Mortad. More. He says, wonderful painting as always. Thank you for all the great work that you put on YouTube.
Well, thank you. Thank you for stopping by and joining us too. Usually I don't have like fresh squeezed paint. It's usually from palette. I don't like throwing paint out. But it's nice having this though. There is a definite advantage to using things straight out the tube.
Okay. Okay. Well, Kumar, he responds again. He says, it's really hard to make it in art in India since there's a lot of stereotypes and stuff about art that you can't make it big or it's not stable or doesn't pay as much, but you inspire so much and you know what I am. And he says he's going to keep going.
Okay, great, Kumar. You know what? To be honest, I'll be very honest. It's difficult. It's difficult anywhere you are to be an artist. But it's also entirely possible to make a living. People do. You just gotta plan very carefully. One of the things that I tell you, I wish that I had known that I didn't know was it's not just if you want to make a living as an artist, you got to be a businessman. And I wish that when I had art school, they had taught both things. Not just art, but the business of art, because it is a business. And you want to be able to make a living, to be successful, and in the sense that you can, you don't have to look where you're making, your bread. It's just something that I am learning now as I go on, and I didn't learn back then. But I think if I did, I'd have been way, way ahead of the game, different from what I am now. So my encouragement to you, Kumar, would be, hey, you can make a career out of it, definitely, but definitely make friends, network with people who are around you, who can help you later on in life to find work, because you never know who are going to be the art directors and so forth. I mean, I've got work from India. To be honest with you, there's a Pack Publishing which publishes in India. They asked me a long time ago to do a book on on what's it? Digital Painting Essentials, I believe it was called, and it's still available on the Pack Publishing site. And what it was that at that time I was heavily into Sketchbook Pro, and they approached me and they wanted me to do a book on that. So I said sure, and I did a book on that many years ago. It's still for sale on their website, I believe. And you know, it's Digital Painting Essentials. I think that's what it's called. But it was a long time ago, and you know, Sketchbook or Sketchbook Pro has changed since then. There's still some things that in that book that are valid, because my approach to digital painting is not so much the technical side. I pretty much do digital work the way I do traditional work. So there's a link that ties them both together. So it'll still work, you know, today, even though that book was some time ago. But I found work in India just to let you know, and I'm here in the United States.
Well, you know what? Can you say the book's name again? Because he's asking about the book's name.
I believe it's called. You know what? Let me get the book. Okay, just give me 1 minute.
Okay, everybody. Well, Gil is going to get the book that Kumar had asked about, and I didn't want you to think that there was something wrong with the tech here. He'll be right back to share that title and to continue painting. Okay, he's still looking for the book. Well, hello, fans. I didn't want you to think that there's something wrong with the tap. Gil just stepped away from the painting momentarily to look for a book that he had published some years ago. He just went to get the book in order to share the title. And yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm back, and I couldn't find the book. I have a ton of books and I'm always moving them around. So I couldn't find that one. But Kumar, if you're interested, I will definitely, I'll definitely, when I'm done with this, leave a link, okay? To the PAC website where they have that book.
Okay. Well, this is awesome, Kumar. He says he actually got approached by his principal, and he got a wonderful opportunity of making a cover for a textbook.
Oh, great.
That the country's education board is publishing. Well, good for you, Kumar. Congratulations.
That's great. That's great. Well, you know what? There you go. That's a start right there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he says, thank you guys. I'm so excited for it to be published. And he will share it with us. You have to.
Yeah, you should be excited. That is great news. It really is.
Yeah. And so young,
Yes.
to be approached so young. Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to let you know it's 4:03, and yeah, and this work, it's awesome.
Thank you.
It's awesome. Okay, well, Kumar, he says, sorry, kept you so busy, I didn't let you talk about the painting. Kumar, please, we love your comments and your questions, and even you sharing that good news with us.
Yep. Nothing to apologize about.
That's right, nothing to apologize about. process again. The tones that you achieve in the painting, they seem so cool compared to the painting. Is that because you're using a limited palette, or are you doing it intentionally?
I'm doing it intentionally. I'm trying to get away from some of the coolness here, but that I see a lot of like purples and just the cool colors when I look at the photo. But I'm also trying to get lighter, and what happens with gouache is that it when it dries on the page, it always dries lighter than you put it down, so it's kind of tricky.
Okay, well, Boricua is accent is the squash.
Yes, this is gouache. This is not like last time I used acrylic gouache. This is not acrylic gouache. This is straight up gouache.
Okay. Well, Kumar is asking, how's the COVID scene here? It's the second wave in India, and it's 2 times the cases here, he says.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It goes up and down here. There are people not taking seriously the advice, and there are people who are luckily I live in New York City, and now, not that it isn't without its problems, because there are people here who want to not take the advice that is given as well, but the majority of the people do follow what's recommended, which is great. Other parts of the country, not so. And so other parts are experiencing resurgence, and other parts are kind of faring a lot better. You know, we're not out of the woods. Luckily, we have our vaccine scheduled for next week, and I look forward to. We already got our youngest son vaccinated, which was great. How he was able to get it is a long story, but he was eligible for it, and he got it. And both my other son, my older son, my wife, and I are we're up next, you know.
Yeah. I was looking at what Kumar is saying. He said, "What's your favorite sitcoms?" And when he said New York, his brain immediately went to Friends.
Nah, I don't watch a lot of sitcoms anymore. I used to, and but I don't watch a lot of TV, as a matter of fact. I do and I don't. I don't watch as much as I did before, and unfortunately, most of my television has been reduced to Star Trek. Every single one of its what do you might call it? Every single one of its different series. They had the original one, Star Trek Next Generation. They had Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and what you might call it, and Star Trek Enterprise. Yeah, and I've watched some of Discovery, but I don't like the fact that I have to buy a whole other channel to watch Star Trek. I can only go so far. Apart from that, I'm really getting into, and my wife can attest, the Winter Soldier and stuff like that, because I have Disney Plus, and I like the Marvel stuff, She didn't like WandaVision, but I loved it.
Oh no, I just don't see. Well, let me not say.
I loved it. I'm watching the Winter Soldier, which is the current thing, and I love that. So that's my TV. Apart from that, baseball, particularly the New York Yankees, since I'm from New York.
Big Yankees fan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even though I tuned off the game, I'm not sure where they're at now, but I was watching earlier.
Oh. They were playing?
Yeah, they were playing. They were playing Tampa Bay Rays.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's cute. Beat me up, Scotty. Okay, Kumar. tried something different, like botanical illustrations. He says he feels that they are lost and he doesn't see as much.
Doesn't see. I don't understand.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. You don't understand what he's asking.
Yeah, what's lost?
I feel the botanical illustrations. You know, he was asking, have you ever tried something different? You know.
Well, what interests me most and always did is people, and so that's pretty much what I do. I think I look at botanical paintings and still lifes and landscapes. I like them, but as far as me sitting down and doing the thing that's going to hold my interest, my interest has always been painting and drawing people. You know, I definitely include those things. And you know what? Let me clarify. I have done like watercolors and landscapes and things like that. Sure, I've done all of that, but it always comes back to this though.
Okay. Well, Kumar want to know, do you have any tips of creating his portfolio? He's thinking about applying in the U.S.
In the U.S., I would just just show that you can draw and paint, but mostly draw. You know, show them your best stuff. You know, and it's kind of hard to say because I don't know what your work looks like, Kumar, and so it's hard for me to give anything specific, that would be fair to you. But you show them your best work. Show them your best work, and make sure that have a portfolio that you feel good about. Don't go in there wondering, oh, is my portfolio going to be good enough? Have one that it's you can say, well, this is my best work, and feel good about it.
just following up on that question, he asked, should he include all sorts of work, like all medium, or just the medium he feels he does the best in?
Definitely the medium that you feel you do the best in. Don't have anything there that you don't feel like it's your best work. Do the things that you feel like you do best, and show them that.
Mm. Okay. Well, Barika chimes in. Uh, she says, thank you for keeping me company while working. I find your generous attitude and experience really inspiring. Will definitely visit this channel when I have more time. Okay, and they said now I have to go to sleep.
Oh, okay. Well, good night.
I wonder where you're at. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Rika. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, well, Kumar had informed me people watch from all over. It's actually 2 in the morning there. He's in India.
Wow.
Yeah. having the lives. I think he means the live stream.
Yes.
Yeah. So keep it coming.
Okay. You know what? I do intend to keep doing just that, because it works out. You know, I get to put another video on YouTube, and you know, I don't have to worry too much about editing or anything like that.
Well, yes. Which art school did you go to? I think you mentioned the high school, but I think he's might be asking college.
Yeah, I went to Parsons School of Design. I also went to after high school. I went to the Art Students League, and Parsons School of Design. Art Students League is not a college, but it's a very, very famous school that's been there for a long, long time in Manhattan. Some great artists have come through there, including artists like Robert Henry, Norman Rockwell. Took classes at the Art Students League. Everybody is familiar with George Bridgman's books on anatomy. George Bridgman taught at the Art Students League. So you know, it was a great place to go to. One of the things with gouache is when you go on so long, you build up so much paint. You don't really have to keep putting on more paint. You can move the paint around with just water.
Well, Kumar says, I guess food for thought here. Hey, maybe you could put the reference and the paints we might need in the community tab, so we can really paint along.
Well, you know what? It's a great idea. I can only do that with reference that I took. This is reference. Now I'm allowed. I got this reference from a site called PoseSpace. They have a lot of reference nude models and so forth that you can purchase from them. And I asked them, is it all right to use this on on YouTube, for demonstration purposes. They said, yes, by all means, you can teach classes with these and so forth. The only thing they don't want you to do is to distribute them. So I can't put this on the community page. However, if there's a reference that I took, which I do have, I can definitely put that on the community page.
Okay, he says, okay, not the reference, but the paints.
Oh.
But the paints?
You mean like what kind of paints I use?
Okay, the paints that they might need, but that we might need, that's what he's saying.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so let me then just rephrase that. I think he's saying maybe you could put the paints we might need in the community tab so we can really paint along.
Oh, you mean ahead of time?
Yeah, I think that's what he's meaning. He did indicate reference, but I think once you reply, he really understands you can't use the reference, but what about the paints?
Right. Oh, that sounds good. Okay, well, I'm going to be stopping pretty soon here. Okay, I just want to remind everyone that if you want to support this channel, I do have a Patreon page, and there's a link to it on this down below. If anyone's interested, also have 2 sketchbooks that are on Amazon. If anybody's interested in those, the link is down below as well. So I am going to call it a day in just a little while. So I hope everybody was able to enjoy this time and walk away with a nice drawing or painting. You know, for the very least, a great experience, you know, drawing and painting. Thank you for joining us. I will be back next week with another live stream where we'll do this all over again.
And Kumar just his last comment. He said, "Oh, is that a dog?" Well, Kumar, we do live in the Bronx, and we do have neighbors, and they walk their dogs. So that's what you were hearing.
Yeah, there's somebody outside our door.
Yes. So yeah, Kumar says it was a cute bark, like a small dog. Yeah, they do. They have a small dog. Our neighbors.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm going to finally stop. All right, so once again, thank you. Thank you for joining us. We will be back next week with another of one of these draw-alongs, paint-alongs. And again, I hope everybody enjoyed the time. I definitely did. And thank you for your comments. Thank you for joining us now. Okay. So until next week, we will be back, like I said, with another live stream.